Alright, so as it regards to virtual DJ, it's the MIDI virtual DJ. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how to get from point A to point B as it regards to virtual based on what I have learned. And I must tell you that I am still in the learning process of this. Now, let's go from scratch. Um, I will press the letter M because once you've installed and done what you did as it regards to the installation of virtual DJ, the MIDI virtual, this is the virtual 8.1 that I'm using. Um, so what is going to happen is once you've installed and that kind of thing, it will ask you to create uh, a sample bank or what is called an effects bank. Now there's a difference between effects bank and an effects pack. An effects pack is where you take the samplers from and place it in the bank. The bank is what virtual will have or will use to push your effects or your samplers. Now let me show you exactly how to get to um, the MIDI virtual. You press M. Desktop. Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Edge 13 movie 16 of 26. All music DJ ready to speech 20 of 26. So you find MIDI virtual. You press enter on it. Now I must tell you that this system, it's actually created um, in such a way that it has an update at least once every week. So once you enter on it, it will say this. Please wait, checking for updates. So it's checking. It didn't find any, so it opened it up. Now, if it had found an update, it would have told you that it had found an update. It would have told you that it had found an update, and it would ask you to install the update. Because it didn't find it, it opened it. Now, I'll show you also exactly, let me show you now exactly how to load. Let's say, for example, you created your effects pack. Let's say your um, effects bank. Let's say your effects bank is called um, Zollyhood Radio. You would do this. You would press, this is to load the samplers into the bank. Press the Alt key and then you right arrow to samplers. You enter on sampler. It just said delete all sample bank. You don't want to do that, so you up arrow. You would up arrow to sample bank editor. You enter on this. And you would press the letter O. Now once you press the letter O, it opens a folder with all the sample packs, sample banks that are there. And then, for example, let's say your sample bank, like I said, is Zollywood Radio, you would press Z as in Zulu for your bank. But my bank is called GSAG, so I'll press G. I will enter on it. It depends on how many samplers are in the bank. It will tell you how many. I have 8 right now in my sampler bank. Um, I must tell you, if you delete, um, if you're just loading it for the first time, it will load from 1 to 8, or 1 to 16, or 1 to 32. The most a sample bank can hold, one sample bank can hold up to 32 samplers. Um, in order for you to change from sample bank to sample bank, is you're gonna have to press F10 to change from sample bank to sample bank. But me, I only use 8 samplers, so I don't need to change. Now, one thing I must tell you is that if you remove a sampler, if you delete a sampler from out of the bank, the next sampler in front of it will replace it. So if you delete, for example, sample say 7, sample 8 will take its place. If you delete sample 3, sample 4 will take its place. If you delete sample 8, then sample 8, the place where sample 8 is, it's gonna be null and void until you put something in there. Now I'm gonna delete, let's say you're trying to edit the bank, which means deleting and replacing samplers. I will show you exactly how to do it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'm gonna delete sample 8, and like I said, with sample 8, the slot for sample 8, it doesn't move. So which means if you delete this, yes, I want to, you enter and it will disappear. Now I will scroll down and show you.
1, sample name, Subworld 2, sample name, Lewis 3, sample name, Chrome, Stack 4, sample name, All Food 5, sample name, Switchy F6, sample name, Validation 7, sample name, Unicus A1,
Alright, there are 7 samplers in there now. Now sample 8, like I said, the slot for sample 8, it doesn't, it's not replaced until you replace it. Because it replace not backward but forward. So which means if you delete from 8, 7 won't come. If you delete 7, 8 will be up there, will take its place. Now I want to put a sampler in the slot that is missing, which is slot 8. I will press the letter A as in alpha. Now it says select sample file to edit to to be in sample bank. I will shift tab. I'm in my documents folder. It will always open in your documents folder because it automatically thinks that's where your sample but your sample uh, pack is. It will always believe that your sample pack is in documents. On Unless yours is actually in documents, you can go ahead and search for your sample pack. Unfortunately, mine is not in sample in documents, so I will backspace out of documents, press M as in Mike for music, enter on music. Now my sample pack The name of my sample pack is Mad Samples or Mad Effects.
M31 of 54. Mad Effects 32 of
Mad
54.
Effects. So I will enter on Mad Effects,
Bit 0 any unselected 1 of 223.
and it will show you how many samplers are in your sample pack. I if you know the name of the sampler that you're looking for, you can just press the specific letter that corresponds with the sample. Like me, for example, I'm looking for a sampler that starts with T.
Item 2 list cancel max version 1T. The music just turned T on 1T. Tony Matter on added to T. Written at 180. Turbulence and wobble 183 of 223.
Now I found it, a sampler from Turbulence. That's a Jamaican artist. And the only thing you have to do is press enter to load it.
Sample name editor. Press F1 at any time or keyboard command L. List 7. Sample name. For music list A1. Status. Available unselected 7 of 8.
So it will mention the last sample before you load. So it mentioned sample 7, and that wasn't the sampler I loaded. I loaded sampler 8. So to make sure that sampler 8 is actually loaded, I would press down arrow to check.
1. Sample name. Dub World of Music 2. Sample name. You're listening. 3. Sample name. Code. Status. 4. Sample name. All
5,
of fully. Status. 5. Sample name. Swifty Any Man. Status. 6. Sample name.
6,
Size HW New Gentleman Jamaica. Status 7. Sample name.
7,
For music list A1. Status. 8.
8.
Sample name. Turbulence and wobble. Status. Available 8 of 8.
Alright, so all that's done. Then you press escape.
All music BDJ. This to speech 221,122.
You're back where you started when you just opened up the MIDI virtual. Now, that's one way, that's the way to open and load your effects bank. For you to kickstart virtual, you can either press the number 1 or the number 2.
Starting virtual DJ. Please wait. Virtual DJ. Connected to virtual DJ. Music Robots Performance V6.0 keyboard layout. Soft list. Contains 18 tracks. Audio. Original Patty. Options. Tempo 8.0. Length 3 minutes 48 seconds. Year 2015. Head 1 selected. No tracks loaded.
All right. Now, let's say I did not
Folder list. Folder
open
level 2. Able to
a
wait.
folder before.
E. Able to wait. Soft list. Contains 18 tracks. Audio. Original Patty. Options. Tempo
I
8.0.
would
Length 3 minutes 48
have
seconds. Year
to
2015.
press enter to open my music folders. All my music folders would have been open, and then I would down arrow to the one I want. Now, if you're opening a folder,
Audio. Black CA story. Assistant. Audio. Original folder list. Folder album.
let's say I have a folder called album with over 20 or more files in there. You would press the space bar. I mean the yeah, you would press the right arrow key. So that's the right arrow key on a large folder, and you would open the folder so you could see your files.
Folder level 3. 100% Cableton. 1997. Black woman and child. 2010. 08. 438. 2019. 100%. Folder level 2. Album.
Now, in order for you to close back the album folder or a folder that has more than one files in there, you go back to the name of the file, the folder, press enter on it, and it will close it. Now, if you want to open a single file,
Able to wait.
I have a folder called April to May. I will just press shift and enter.
Soft list. Contains 18 tracks. Audio. Original Patty. Options. Tempo 8.0. Length 3 minutes 48 seconds. Year 2015.
It will tell you the length of the track, how fast is the track, and it will also tell you that both decks, deck 1 and deck 2, are empty. Now, let's see if I can put a track on deck 1. Now, I would
Audio. Audio. Original Patty. Options. Tempo 8.0.
down
Length 3 minutes 48
arrow
seconds. Audio. Black CA story. Assistant. Tempo
and then
140.0. Length
up
3. Audio.
arrow to
Original Patty. Options. Tempo
choose
8.0. Length 3 minutes
the
48 seconds. Year.
first track in the folder. Now, in order for me to load the track in on deck one, I would press shift and right and left arrow.
Deck 1 selected. Audio. Options. Original heading. Track length 3 minutes 48 seconds.
So it just said deck one selected, the name of the track, the name of the artist, and it tells you how long is the track. The track is 3 minutes and 20 something seconds. Now, for deck for deck one, um, for deck one, you will press the letter Z as in Zulu to mark the track. All right. So that's exactly how it would work. You'd press the letter Z and the track will start playing. Um,
You're listening to DJ Double G.
all right. So my effects are loud. So in order for you to turn your effects down, you would press Shift and F11.
Sample path 5 to 16 selected.
Um,
Sample path 25 to sample path 1 to 8 selected.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold down the Shift and press 11. F11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3. And then I would test it. So you would always test it to see how loud or how soft it is. Alright, it's pretty good. No, I recommend this. When you're turning down or turning up your effects using Shift and F11 to turn it down or Shift and F12 to turn it up, I recommend you to count. Counting helps to turn your effects down to a level because you don't want to turn it down too much and you don't want to turn it up too much. All right, so yeah, loading deck one, and this is what it sounds like I said.
Reaching out to all original Johnny, original father.
Or what I just did is press the letter A for a short spin back. Or if I want a longer spin back or back spin, that's what it's called, back spin, I would press the letter S as in Sarah. That's what it would sound like. If I want a shorter one, I would press A as in alpha. Now, your effects, depending on how many effects are there, you would press the keystrokes F1 to F8, and in for you to switch from effects pack to effects pack, you press F10. Uh, Hold on a sec. Alright, so I mean F9. F9 would give you the changing of the effects pack. Alright, so I will change it and show you.
Sample path 17 to 24 selected.
17.
Sample path 1 to 8 selected.
Alright, so it starts from 1 to 8, and you press F9 again.
Sample path 25 to 32 selected. Sample path 17 to 24 selected.
17 to 24. 20,
Sample path 1 to 8 selected. Sample path 25 to 32 selected.
25 to 32.
Sample path 17 to 24 selected.
But that's not where I am. It depends on how many packs you have in there or how many samplers you have in the pack. I have 8, so I will always stick to
Sample match 9 to 16. Select sample match 1 to 8 selected.
1 to 8. It has 1 to 8, 9 to 16, 17 to 24, 25 to 32. Now, if I want to load a track on deck 2, I would scroll for the track,
Audio. Max DA story. Access it. Tempo 140.0. Length 3 minutes 32 seconds. Year 2015.
press shift, hold on the shift key and press the right arrow. So is left for 1, right for 2. So
Filter keys. Yes button. Plus Y. Virtual DJ.
sorry. So I will hold down the shift key and press the right arrow.
Deck 2 selected. Audio. Access it. Max DA story. Track length 3 minutes 32 seconds.
So it just mentions that deck 2 has been selected. It names the track Assassin. What's the story, and it tells you how long is the track, 3 minutes and 32 seconds. For me to play the track on deck 2, I will press M as in microphone.
Beginning at midnight tonight, D.C. residents 21 and over can legally possess up to 2 ounces of marijuana. Is now fully legal to smoke for fun, quote, recreationally.
All right. So in order for you to get a longer backspin on deck 2, you press the number 7. That's the number 7 to get a longer backspin. In order for you to get a shorter one, you press the number 0. That's to get a shorter backspin. All right. Um, there are other keystrokes. For example, let's say I'm on deck 1. Let me play this track again. Let's say you want to turn the track down. You would press the letter H, and once you press H, it will turn the track down but also slide into the other deck, which is deck 2. If you're on deck 2 and you want to move from deck 2 in terms of turning down, you would press the letter G as in golf, and it will turn down the track from deck 2. Alright, so also for deck 1, let's say you're playing the track and you want to, you how you get that, you get like a uh, a repeat of something, a loop. That's what it's called, a loop. For deck 1, you can either press the letter Q as in Quebec, and it says looping deck 1, 1 beat. And if I press the letter Z as in Zulu to play back the track, it will sound like this. If you want to remove it, you press the letter Q as in Quebec. So it will tell you that it's on and it will tell you that it's off. Let's go with the letter W, for example. It says looping deck 1, 2 beats. Now if I press the letter Z to start the track again, it will sound like this. I will remove it now. If I want to go further, I will press the letter E as in echo. And it will loop it 4 beats. Now this is what it will sound like. Want to remove it? I want to go a bit further, I will press this. I will press the letter R,
Moving deck 1, 8 beats.
and it will give me 8 beats, and this is what it will sound like.
Reaching out to all original. Reaching out to all original.
5. Deck 1 move off.
Alright, so that's it. That's what it will sound like. Let's say you're doing let's say you're doing it on deck 2. It will sound like this.
Beginning at midnight tonight, DC residents 21 and over can legally possess.
Alright, so let's loop on deck 2. You're gonna press the letter I for as in India, and it will sound like this.
Moving deck 2, 2 beats.
It will sound like this. Press the letter M as in Mike for deck 2. Press it again.
Beginning at midnight tonight, DC residents.
Let's continue. If you want to go a bit further, press the letter O.
Moving deck 2, 4 beats.
It will sound like this.
Beginning at midnight tonight. Beginning at midnight tonight. Beginning at midnight tonight. Beginning at midnight tonight. Beginning at midnight tonight.
If you want to remove it, you press the same thing.
Deck 2 move off.
Continuing with the letter P. Let's go with letter P.
Moving deck 2, 8 beats.
It will go for 8 beats. This is what it will sound like.
Beginning at midnight tonight, DC residents 21 and over. Beginning at midnight tonight, DC residents 21 and over. Beginning at midnight tonight, DC residents 21 and over. Beginning at midnight tonight, DC residents 21 and over can legally possess up to 2 ounces of marijuana. Is now fully legal to.
So that's what it will sound like for deck 2. Alright, some additional things that you need to learn, that you need to know is, let's say for example I want to there's if you press the letter if you press the number 1 on deck 1, it will sound like this. There. What the? Alright, hold on, let me.
Deck 1 deck 2, EFO.
What make a sperm donor? You wanna know soldier? How you keep it senior and not neglect your junior? Run when the pressure reach you.
Alright, so let's say I want to, if you press the letter 3 on the track on deck 1, it will sound like this. It will echo the track. That's what the number 3 would do.
4.
Let's say I will press the number 4, it will sound like this. Alright, let me. That's what it will sound like.
5. 5. 5. 5. 5.
Reaching out to all original daddy.
5. 5. 5.
Original father.
Deck 3, EFO deck 2.
What make a sperm donor? You wanna know soldier? How you keep it senior and not neglect your junior? Run when the pressure reach you.
In order for you to do that for deck 2, you would press the numbers 8 and 9 respectively to get the same results.